So not perhaps by Italy. Remarkably, 10 of the side which won at Wembley. It would have been all 11, but Paolo Maldini had to tell his father this morning that he wasn't yet fully fit. So Antonio Benarivo fills that gap. Cesare Maldini, sixth match in charge of Italy, and they've not yet conceded a goal since he took over control from Arrigo Sacchi.
Well, as we saw at Wembley, Italy were playing a 4-4-2 formation. Zola playing just in behind Casaraghi. On the left-hand side, I think Di Matteo will play there the majority of the time, but they don't have a natural left-hand-sided player amongst the four. He will rotate Di Matteo with Baggio. Albertini playing always in the centre of midfield.
Well, Glenn Hoddle didn't make up his mind until after a morning of the match, a training session of more than usual significance. Tim Flowers becomes the fifth goalkeeper used this year, one of 5 changes from Katowice. Martin Keown, Phil Neville, Paul Scholes and Ian Wright all in. But Gary Neville, Paul Gascoigne and Alan Shearer, they're all available tonight amongst the England substitutes. Just one casualty left from Katowice, Rob Lee, with a badly bruised toe.
Yes, England continue to play with the wing-backs. We expect Beckham and Ince to be the two natural central midfield players. At Wembley, there was McManaman and Letizia playing in behind Alan Shearer. Tonight, we expect Sheringham and Scholes to play that role, with Ian Wright being the sole front runner.
Italy don't even name Paolo Maldini amongst their substitutes. They brought out Attilio Lombardo, who were just about to go off on holiday, into the squad at the 11th hour, so he's amongst those Italian names. Any 3 can be used, and as you can see, Rob Lee even is named by England. There's very little chance of him playing. Better news of Gascoigne, who really has made a very quick recovery from the early injury in Poland. So it's a proud night for Paul Ince, captaining England for the 4th time, but especially this one will stick in the memory against the Italians that he plays against, or the majority of them week in, week out for Inter. Well, the city of Nantes in the west of France, they're close to the Atlantic coast here. La Beaujoire Stadium, built for the European Championship finals of 1984, which was won by France. The local fans saw Nantes lose a Champions League place on the final day of the French season, picked by Paris Saint-Germain as runners-up to Glenn Hoddle's old club, Monaco. It's by no means a sellout here. Indeed, there was a special broadcast in English being put out on the local radio station to encourage and to help English people in the area to come along. I was speaking to some of them a couple of hours ago, holiday makers, who weren't even sure that this fixture was taking place, but the news was spread. Around 1,000 England fans here. The referee is from Austria, Günther Benko. Pitch in good condition, that's a contrast to Katowice. Ian Wright, beaten to it by Albertini. So a very familiar Italy side, Trevor, to English viewers, British viewers, and with England making the expected changes, with Glenn Hoddle wanting to keep 1 or 2 things up his sleeve for what happens in Rome in October.
Yes, and even the replacement, Benarivo, is obviously familiar with English viewers, played many times for Parma. Can play either left or right, although I think it's fair to say he does prefer to kick with his right foot.
So here he is on the left, wearing number 15. Phil Neville. Beckham. Ian Wright very much the main man through the centre, supported by Scholes. Phil Neville carried on the run well. There was a deflection on the cross, made it a little bit more awkward for Italy to defend. And Cannavaro puts it behind for the first corner of the game.
It's an excellent play actually there from England, involving the 3 United players, Beckham, Neville and Scholes. Unfortunately, there was nobody in the box to attack the ball in from Neville.
Beckham takes it. And the referee spotting some pushing in there, Ince and Sheringham coming in. But understandably, the right kind of swagger about the England party when they arrived in France on Monday, brimming with self-belief. It was a terrific result in Poland. One would have taken that, but it was also an exceptional performance as well, which is even more heartening and even more worrying to the Italians, who probably didn't expect either the result or the performance from England. Albertini saying, "Who, me?" Well, it was him. Scholes. Gareth Southgate, who's really got a chance to develop as the central of Glenn Hoddle's three. Certainly showed a greater range in his passing in Poland, and Graham Lasso on the England left was a particular beneficiary. Headed forward by Benarivo. Keown is there, then Beckham. And Benarivo forcing his way past Scholes. Costa Curta has taken on the captain's armband for Italy in place of Paolo Maldini. He's got a high strain that's been worrying him. He was close to being fit, but didn't want to take the risk. Dino Baggio's cross. Beckham, and then the man very much in the news over the past 24 hours or so, Teddy Sheringham, seeking that transfer from Spurs. Keown having problems with Zola. That's beautifully laid off by Ian Wright, who of course had an exceptional match against South Africa. With controversy about his winning goal, with the handball element in it, but it certainly gave the match the right result. They deserved the win, and Ian Wright deserved the man of the match award.
Slightly unlucky there, he peeled off in behind Ferrara, just went offside. What was interesting though, Martin, there was a line of 4 Italian players against Ian Wright. I do feel that Ian needs a little bit more support than that.
Costa Curta. Here's Benarivo. Zola and Di Matteo have been travelling the world with Chelsea since the FA Cup final. There's been no rest for them. Beckham, who I'm sure will revel in the chance to play further away from the right-hand touchline. Costa Curta. Certainly the tournament got off to a sparkling start in Lyon. France and Brazil, and you sensed that right from the beginning yesterday, bursting for a taste of competitive football. Of course, it's very different for England and Italy, who've been going through the testing times of World Cup qualification, whereas the hosts and the holders have been spared that. So it's a more cautious start here in Nantes tonight, and I don't think that's any great surprise. Right, well forward, but isolated again, but still able to fasten onto a bit of weak defending by Costa Curta. Trevor, I seem to remember Arsenal playing at times this way, with Ian Wright through the centre and the likes of Bergkamp and Merson supporting from deeper positions, as maybe Scholes and Sheringham are being asked to do today.
Yeah, you just feel at the moment, in the opening 5 minutes of the game, that Sheringham and Scholes are both pulling for the ball in midfield. We've also got Beckham, Neville, Ince in there. You've got a lot of players wanting the ball to feet. But you need, I think, 1 or 2 more trying to get forward and support Ian Wright to put the Italians in a little bit more pressure.
Well, Italy got the ball to Zola's feet, and that spelled a problem for England. He controlled the ball superbly, passed it with some authority towards Casiraghi. And here's Ciro Ferrara, who last Wednesday was playing in the UEFA Champions League final. The European Cup final to most of us, and of course on the wrong end of the result, no European club trophy from the 3 major competitions for Italian sides this season. Paul Ince's Inter, of course, losing in the UEFA Cup final, also to a German side, Schalke. Zola. Benarivo trying to add some support further forward. There's Ben Roeder on the England bench.
Well, there were shouts from the Italians behind the goal for a penalty there, but good strength from Southgate just held Casiraghi off. As you would expect, Casiraghi fell to the floor, with no question of that being a penalty.
As you would expect, a comment noted and made by someone who played in Italy and knows a thing or two about falling to the floor from time to time. I mean, of course, incidents against Trevor Francis, not that I would suggest that he'd been guilty of that. Going to ground here was Benarivo, and the challenge from Wright. Both teams arrived here on Monday evening. Many of the Italians involved in the last round of the Serie A matches on Sunday. Of course, it's been a long season for England too. Although unusually, none of this squad played in the cup final, whereas two of the Italians did. So there was a bit of a pit stop for Glenn Hoddle's players around the middle of May. Stuart Pearce. Wright showing well. Scholes. And out by Di Matteo. Scholes gets it back for England. Beckham, the Manchester United involvement again here with Phil Neville. And Beckham's probing pass. And he makes running look so easy, this athletic young man, Philip Neville.
Yes, and he made that ball possible from Beckham with an excellent run. He attacks Benarivo, gets in behind him, little chest control, but it just overruns out of play.
Well, the side that wins, if there's an outright result tonight, would go to the top of Le Tournoi de France. To the 1-1 last night between France and Brazil. France coming back very nobly in the second half, and it looked as though they were going to be really put to the sword by the world champions in the opening phase of the game. Much more even the beginning in Nantes tonight. Casiraghi hasn't played for Italy since he was involved at Wembley in February. Di Matteo, and coming late onto the scene, and I think England would have not liked to have conceded a headed goal to Zola.
Once again, that was excellent play from the Italians. It was all made possible by a good run from Casiraghi. Looked to go to feet and checked in behind Keown. Good possession, back to Di Matteo. Good little ball into Zola.
Just 2 England wins in the last 10 matches with Italy. 4 defeats and a draw in the last 5. Cesare Maldini has certainly restored the defensive values to Italy. And, very hard side to break down. Costa Curta. Di Matteo. That's Albertini's pass, and he really is the playmaker on the centre of the pitch. How different, Trevor, is this to the tactical style that England adopted at Wembley in February?
I think it's very similar. In recent games we've seen Shearer and Sheringham just in behind, 3 central midfield players. But as I said at the top of the programme, at Wembley we had Letitia and McManaman playing very, very loose behind Alan Shearer. On this occasion tonight, it's very, very similar. The 2 men this time is Sheringham and Scholes. Well, I personally would like to see a little bit further forward. You know, the midfield area is really crowded at the moment, and the ball's going forward to Wright now, and if he does win it, like he has done there, there's absolutely nobody to go for the flick-on. Costa Curta, the sweeper, who just drops off, collects any flick-ons.
There's Casiraghi winning the header. Livio trying to knock it back in towards Zola. Awkward for Sheringham. Challenged well by Ferrara. And Di Matteo's got a lot of space here. And Stuart Pearce came across with a very important tackle. Di Matteo has stayed down. Tim Flowers saying to his colleagues, get the ball out of play. England were sucked across to one side, and Di Matteo, whose goal-scoring ability in Chelsea's colours has been so impressive in his first season in England, was in the clear.
Well, the two Chelsea men really carved England open there. Terrific ball from Zola. I think Di Matteo, when he looks at the game, will wish that he'd hit the ball with his left foot. He had the opportunity of a shooting chance, elected to come inside. Pearce quickly over, gets in a great tackle.
He wanted it on the right foot, didn't he?
Always did. Should have hit it with his left foot.
Cesare Maldini frustrated by really the first clear opening in the game, and Di Matteo needing a bit of attention when you get tackled by Stuart Pearce, like being hit by a bulldozer. Hurts.
Well, they're just checking knee ligaments there. I hope for his sake that he hasn't damaged them. Nasty tackle, though.
Been a fair bit of moaning in the Italian camp about playing in this tournament. Not so by England. Glenn Hoddle's been emphasising the positive virtues of learning about the conditions, the climate, of course the general culture here in France with next summer now very much firmly in mind.
When you say moaning, Martin, you mean amongst the players?
No, I think more from Maldini, who inherited the tournament from the previous regime. It's about the time of year that Italian footballers usually expect to go on holiday.
Yeah, I suppose Saki was playing for everything else, wasn't he? So you can blame him for this.
Kaziragi. And Hoddle looks on with some concern. Martin Keown. Heavy ball, and he's touching that right shoulder. Doing the damage.
And the referee's calling for a stretcher. I think he'll be okay. He'll be up soon.
Gary Lewin checking the damage. Matteo, incidentally, is back on. And Keown will hope to join him. There's only a friend that's taking any risks. And again, the sporting etiquette applied.
Well, I don't know how sporting that was, because England are certainly in a less favourable position than what they were when Scholes received good possession of the ball. And there was only one intent from Kaziragi, and that was to put the ball deep into the corner flag, and he quickly went and closed the keeper down, stopping England from throwing the ball to Tim Flowers.
We now do have a throw. Albertini. Ferrara coming to the right-hand side. Cannavaro, though, looking further forward towards Di Livio. And Ferrara has to chase Scholes. He made a very promising beginning to his full international career as a substitute against South Africa at Old Trafford when he was involved in the winning goal for Ian Wright. Here's Sheringham looking for Wright with the cross. Ince. Sheringham again. Ince. Actually, he wasn't to know it then, Phil Neville, but he could have turned and gone on.
Yes, you're right, he was completely free. He tried a little back flick here, this. Benarivo gets his foot to it, but he was completely free. If only he'd had to shout a turn. I suppose for a right back, he's not really familiar with getting those positions when you're the last forward, or the most forward, furthest forward.
One defender in a familiar position is Martin Keown, who's come up. He's treated, but Di Matteo clearly still feeling the problem. Diego Fuzet, who was a substitute against England at Wembley, but much later in the piece, comes on early tonight in Nantes. So it's an England corner. David Beckham to take it. Almost 18 minutes gone. Looking for Sheringham in that area where his speed of thought still catches out opponents who surely look at the videos these days and must realise that England have worked this. Tottenham always work it to Sheringham, and yet it's still definitely a weapon and better connection there, and England might have been one up.
Yeah, the only difference there was instead of Darren Anderton to Teddy Sheringham, it was David Beckham.
Pearce. Glenn Hoddle does have a 100% away record this season. England counter-attacking quickly and accurately, particularly in Georgia and Poland. Tonight, of course, technically a neutral venue. Maybe both nations looking to play on the break. Ian Wright a bit slow to get back on his feet on the far side. Here's Ince, Beckham. Phil Neville well forward again. It's a beautiful pass from Beckham. Of course, Wright's not made it into the middle, but Scholes got his head to it. England one-man light there because their main striker pulled up lame on the far side.
Once again, excellent time run this by Phil Neville. Not an easy ball to cross, but he does well.
And Wright's in trouble. He's back on his feet now. Kazaragi's moving his head on the far side. Aerial challenge with Stuart Pearce. Wright's moving much better now, and into the right sort of area too. Corner. By the pressure applied by Wright on Benarivo.
Benarivo was looking for the free kick, complained that the foot was raised from Wright. Possibly was, but it was excellent closing down. Chased the lost cause and won England a corner.
Sheringham did well to guide it back into a useful area. Here's Graham Lasso. Sheringham was bending his run on the far side, and fairly astonished to see the flag go up here.
I think Ian Wright was just offside, wasn't he?
Di Livio. Losing out to Lasso. Because of Saturday's match and all the importance thereof. A day off on Sunday, a travel day on Monday. And haven't had much opportunity to work together as a group with this particular 11. It's only this morning. And Glenn Hoddle really finalised his plans. It's almost as if the first 20 minutes or so has been a bit of a feeling out process by the team. There's one or two signs recently, particularly in the understanding between Beckham and Philip Neville on this right-hand side. That
what's important, Martin, is when you do make a number of changes like England have made, is that you don't change the shape of the side. Players who've come in are familiar with this type of play. England have played it for 12 months now.
We were talking earlier about Southgate's switching of the play towards Graham Lasso, but he gave him no chance that time. Cannavaro. Now it's Wright took that well on the half turn. Lasso well forward. Sheringham's gone far post. Scholes getting into the box as well. Others will be joining them. England supporters in that corner. of the stadium here.
A good block that from Ferrara. Pity really, because it's the first time that England have got numbers into the penalty box. If the crossing was so have been better, we had 4 players in the box.
Another David Beckham corner. Sheringham. It's a good connection too. Maybe just too good. And that's a foul.
It was an excellent header from Sheringham. I don't know whether Dino Baggio lost the flight of the ball, but certainly Sheringham out-jumped him.
Ferrara, Fuso. Zola coming initially for the ball to feet. Olivio trying to work the line. Halfway through the first half, the second game of Tournoi de France. Ferrara's cross, a straightforward one. As you would expect, dealt with it. Sheringham lifting it forward to Beckham. Marivo, whose great asset is his speed, got back quickly. Beckham certainly has the attribute of being able to pass the ball great distances, and Ian Wright adjudged to have deliberately run to Ferrara.
I'm not so sure about that. I think he's following the flight of the ball. That wasn't a free kick for me. It was interesting, though, that Beckham elected not to try and outrun Benarivo. Made the right selection there.
Keown competing well against Kaziragi. He's a real handful in the air and had a very good Euro 96 in England. Ferrara. Costa Curta slipping as he played the pass, and maybe that was responsible for the lack of accuracy.
I spoke before the game, Martin, about the Italian midfield four, where they are slightly unbalanced without a recognised left-sided player. That's become even more of a problem now without Di Matteo there, because Fuser, who's come on, does like to play on the right-hand side, as does Delivio. So you've got both of them actually hugging the right-hand side of the pitch. There's nobody willing to come out on the left-hand side here, where Benarivo's just by himself.
Ferrara. Ferrara won the championship for the 4th time in his career, 2 with Juventus, 2 earlier with Napoli. He's had a tremendous career in Serie A. He's been restored to international favour by Cesare Maldini. Kaziragi. Zola. Dino Baggio. Pierce getting in the way well. Scholes. He really does show not a trace of nerves. And it's his pass that has Ian Wright moving on to it! England have taken the lead. Scholes straight through the centre, right on a run. Peruzzi hesitated, and Ian Wright took the chance gleefully.
Absolutely brilliant. Terrific run from Ian Wright, and a fabulous ball from Scholes. He looked up, saw Ian Wright spinning in behind Ferrara, and the delivery was absolutely perfect. Here he is, looks up, uses pace, gets in behind Ferrara, lets it bounce on his left foot. Great finish.
And the first goal Italy have conceded under Cesare Maldini, and it was a very, very good goal from England's point of view. Well, we know how well Shearer and Sheringham are playing in the World Cup games, but Ian Wright, as he did against South Africa, telling Glenn Hoddle that if you need me, I'm here, I'm in prime condition, 33 it may say on the birth certificate, but he's frisky as a foal, and having found international goals hard to come by at stages of his career, has now scored in successive appearances for England.
That's a goal that Ian Wright would be proud of. The run was absolutely timed to perfection, and the way he delivered the volley, that was also timed to perfection. He struck it very, very sweetly in the corner, gave Peruzzi absolutely no chance. A world-class finish.
Zola. It's a free kick to Italy. Fuser, way beyond Kaziragi's reach. Nice work, neat and economical from Beckham and from Sheringham. Beckham again. England under Terry Venables and continuing under Glenn Hoddle have really grown to appreciate the value of possession at the highest level of the game. But possession with a purpose as well here. Phil Neville. Sheringham trying to get away from Cannavaro. He's done that, and he saw where Beckham was, couldn't quite find him.
We often talk, Martin, about the importance of pace in front runners. I think it's those who don't have pace who play up front will appreciate a goal like that. Those who don't have pace could never have attempted that type of run. Wright knows just what his qualities are and what his attributes are. Spins in behind Ferraro, who's an excellent marker. Done it so well over the years for Napoli and in recent years for Juventus. But there's absolutely no answer to that type of run if you time it right. We spoke about the goal last night from Carlos being unstoppable. I think that type of run, timed correctly, is impossible to stop.
Well, the pass played into the most dangerous area, beyond the last defender. And if you've got a player who can catch up the way that Ian Wright accelerated, it is unstoppable, and England lead against Italy, and we've talked a lot about psychological advantages here, and of course we'll know the relevance of this match only when it's all over in October in Rome. But England have hit a 15-minute spell here, which has produced a goal, and it's produced some problems for the Italian defenders, a problem or two from the referee as well. Navarro being tricked there by Ince. Free kick to England.
Quite clever play that from Ince. I think he realised that the tackle was coming in, and Cannavaro just flicked the ball ahead of him and won the free kick.
And so, coming across, he still knows Beckham wants to use him, which he doesn't.
I think he had a call from the bench to stay where he was.
Beckham again. Right, to knock it down. Scholes trying to return the compliment. Brought away by Di Livio. Well, Paul Scholes starting an England game for the first time, having made a goal for Ian Wright. He was a substitute at Old Trafford. He's followed that with a stunning pass here to Wright again.
Yes, it's the type of pass that you tend to associate with his teammate David Beckham. All of 40-50 yards with great accuracy.
There's Beckham. Shorter range this time, but just as effective. Philip Neville! Well, all the zest, all the zip is coming from England at the moment.
Once again, excellent play. Neville not afraid to come forward. No one to pass it to, decides to go alone.
Kaziragi, Zola. Muscled out of it by Ince. Playing with greater urgency. Pearce. Now Beckham, unchallenged. You mentioned Scholes passing it like Beckham, Trevor. I just wonder whether we might suggest he's passing it like Cantona, whose role in the Manchester United team now lies vacant.
That's a strong possibility, isn't it? What a tall order taken up from Cantona, but I think Scholes has got...
There he is again.
He's got everything in his game. What's most important is he's a good goal scorer himself.
Maybe the confidence just being a bit misplaced there by Neville.
And I think when you look back to the goal, Martin, it's Scholes who's played the ball, but he's a goal scorer himself, so he knows what type of ball he would want if he was in the same position as Wright.
That was a pass Glenn Hoddle would have been proud of in his confidence to play himself. He did play on his ground. His career in the French First Division against Nantes for Monaco. Cruz there, but out comes Pearce again. Scholes to Neville. The ricochet favoured England and the Manchester United section of tonight's side.
Well, Sheringham was totally unmarked there if Beckham could have found him. He got in between Ferrara and Costa Curta. Alarming gap in the middle of the two Italian defenders. Totally uncharacteristic of the Italians. Would have been rocked by that goal.
Bertini. Really, the pass dictated his move forward. He doesn't like to advance that far. And David Beckham was dealing with the movement before his challenge. Beckham's really saying that was my first foul. Why have I been shown the yellow card? There is a disciplinary procedure in this tournament, like the World Cup finals and the finals of the European Championship. So should Beckham get booked in the second game, he would miss the third. He's got to be careful, he doesn't infringe again tonight. Oddly enough, England have only ever had 4 players sent off in the entire international history of the nation, and the quirk of it all is they've all been sent off in the month of June, when not that much football is played. The last of them in our studio tonight is certainly Mr. Wilkins.
I thought you meant Richard Keys then.
Ferrara. Well, England didn't defend that particularly well.
Well, they didn't. They had enough players there, but Ferrara was totally unmarked and should have done better. Free header, gets up well.
I think there are certain aspects about Stuart Pearce's play as a central defender which can't necessarily come naturally after all those years as a left-back in a back four.
I think he realised he got himself into the wrong position, but he just did enough, didn't he, to get Ferrara off balance.
That's misjudged by Cannavaro. Ince and Scholes. Nice interplay from England. Ince chasing on himself, but Peruzzi will come and claim.
Just looking at Cesare Maldini down there. Can't sit still. Very, very agitated. Not happy with his team's performance. Trying to inject some urgency into them, but he's not getting any response.
Pearce. Well, this is very pleasant viewing for English eyes. England calling the tune against Italy. 10 minutes to go to half-time. As I said, Italy not too thrilled with taking part in the tournament. England coming here in a completely different psychological state. On the back of Saturday's success, and next Saturday, England take on France in Montpellier. It's an interesting experiment from Glenn Hoddle. The players are staying here in the Nantes area and flying to Montpellier on the morning of the match. Fouzer claiming a corner and getting one.
Yes, they don't invite him to shoot from outside the box. He does have some power in his shooting. I don't think that one would have troubled Tim Flowers, but good block from Pearce.
Well, I was trying to get free, all sorts of pushing going on in there, and the referee saw it. Costa Curta and Kaziragi. What do you make of this England goalkeeping situation, Trevor? We know David Seaman is the #1, but there's a rare old competition going on for the right to be his expected backup.
Yes, I think at the moment, the man who's in possession of the jersey, Tim Flowers, I think is the #2, but I think by the end of this forthcoming season, or the new season I should say, it will then be decided. Obviously it's between the ones who are currently with England at this moment, but only time will tell throughout the season. A lot can happen over the course of 9 months of the season.
Well, Ian Walker played against Italy at Wembley, called in late on, of course. David James had a cap against Mexico. Nigel Martin has played, as well as Seaman himself. And we shouldn't forget how hard it was for Glenn Hoddle to get the team right for that game in February. Seaman and Adams dropped out at the last minute. Alan Shearer went into hospital for surgery, having played in the game, and clearly wasn't fully fit at the time, although they were prepared to take the risk. So circumstances were unfortunate, to say the least.
Yeah, I think Walker and James would expect to have done better when they actually played for England. Sometimes, you know, you become a better goalkeeper when you don't play.
Maybe Tim Flowers has found that, but he's out there in the firing line now. Flowers wasn't picked in any of Glenn Hoddle's first 3 England squads, having been, of course, around with Terry Venables. Cannavaro, and then quickly on the scene again with Beckham. Ferrara. Again, Italy don't get very far, and again Stuart Pearce saw to that. Beckham. Phil Neville starting from deeper on the right-hand side, so Beckham looking the other way towards right, and Scholes was also charging through the centre. That's straightforward, and they haven't quite got a player, even though Zola's many qualities, he hasn't got the change of pace that Ian Wright showed to sprint away to score the only goal so far this evening. Albertini. Better movement from Italy here, and Fuser was the runner that Zola was trying to find, but they've left a space that England could use. Lasso. Still Graham Lasso, of course, had his life taken a different twist. Might have been playing in France, maybe been playing for France. Another England corner, just over 5 minutes to go to half-time. No doubting that Cesare Maldini's men are the lesser of the 2 sides to this point.
I think Phil Neville on this right-hand side can be pleased with his first half performance. He's always made himself available. It's a good outlet, this, on this right-hand side for England.
Beckham's corner. Ince with a challenge. Well, Ian Wright was claiming a corner and then realised that the ball was going to stay in play. And now he was challenged brusquely by Cannavaro. He went to ruffle Wright's hair in apology, but there isn't much to ruffle, is there?
A sliding tackle that Cannavaro followed through with.
Wright's just gone off the pitch for some running repairs. Phil Neville, Beckham. Well, in the absence of Wright, Lasso had stayed in a central position. The ball beat both him and Sheringham. Ian Wright moving well back on. It's lovely control by Sheringham, and Wright coming in. Cannavaro just got there first. Here's Benarivo. Under Maldini, Italy beat Northern Ireland in friendly in January, then of course won at Wembley. Since then they've beaten Moldova at home, drawn in Poland 0-0 and beaten Poland 3-0 in Naples. They're 1-0 down to England in Le Tournoi. Half-time approaching, the rain falling. It's been a very strange day weather-wise, a lot of cloud this morning. Over the climate, Ian Wright's flourishing and scores! Well, the England bench join in the applause. It's Paul Scholes who buried his first England goal. And these two certainly on the same wavelength. Wright cut it back, Scholes connected. It was a blur past Peruzzi, and it's Italy 0, England 2.
Well, you talk about natural goal scoring, you've certainly seen it there from Scholes. Good little ball in from Wright. Once again, a wonderful finish. First time on his left foot. Peruzzi, he doesn't move. It really is a tremendous strike. He does well to get connection, does well to keep it down. And it nestles in the back of the net. Two great goals from two natural goal scorers. What a first half this has been for England.
Well, Van Hoddle was saying that before he went to Poland, he would have taken the 3 points in Katowice, even if it meant losing all 3 games in the Tournoi. But of course, Scholes gets booked. Beckham in the referee's role of dishonour.
Yeah, Scholes is annoyed there with Albertini because he told the referee, or asked the referee to get the yellow card out, and the referee obliged.
Well, Hoddle won't want this first half to be spoiled here. It's in Roberto Carlos territory. And Albertini doesn't go for goal. Revo. It is Ferrara. Pierce. Just a thought about that free kick yesterday, Trevor. Did you see how Roberto Carlos looked for the valve on the ball? Because Franco used to use the same trick. If you hit the ball on its hardest point at the valve, then the aerodynamics take over, and that wasn't totally responsible for the spectacular strike, but the placing was very, very deliberate. And I understand the England players have been having a go in their session this morning to see what they can come up with. The other thing that struck them as well was how Roberto Carlos lifted himself totally off the air to put absolutely everything into the shot. Totally off the ground into the air. Forwards in particular will be enjoying this, making his life in Italy. Whether that will remain so, we wait to hear from him. But captaining England in a situation here that's, I'm sure, very enjoyable to the vast majority of you watching at home.
Got to be careful, David Beckham. It's already been booked. 2-0 ahead. Seconds before half-time. He's just got to steady himself down.
Well, this is all part of the learning, of course. Beckham has conceded a free kick. This is Dino Baggio. It's a good strike. It took Flowers by surprise. Zola is there, and Flowers isn't called upon again. Tim Flowers saw that very late. And it rather hit him, but he was strong enough to stop the ball going past him.
I think it takes a slight deflection from Teddy Sheringham. That's an excellent save from Flowers. Let's have a look at it. Badgel certainly hits it well. There it is, slight deflection of Sheringham. Good save. Fortunately for England, doesn't fall to an Italian forward.
Yes, to Tim Flowers' credit, he certainly made a move to the ball and stopped Italy wiping some of the smiles off the English faces, which were pretty wide at half-time because of 2 England goals in the first 45 minutes here in Nantes. Scholes for Wright with the first in the 26th minute. And both goals so cleanly engineered and splendidly struck. Right for Scholes this time. And if there is a pointer or two to be gained here, England are certainly taking this psychological edge. At half-time at Nantes, it is 2-0 to England. Thank you, Richard. Some substitutions to tell you about. Graham Lasso has gone off for England. Phil Neville has switched to the left-hand side, and brother Gary has come on the right. Cesare Maldini already made it one change with Di Matteo's injury, has brought 2 fresh faces into the second half. Nesta playing at the back in place of Ferrara. Maini making his debut in midfield, a player with the Italian Cup winners, Vicenza. England really didn't want half-time to come. And they're trying to pick up on the same theme straight away with Martin Keown by connecting with the header, and behind him, Paul Ince trying to deal with the ball as it dropped. Scholes had such a fantastic first half. It's more of a collision, it seemed, as the players were just trying to disentangle themselves from the corner with Benarivo.
I thought it was a mistimed tackle, to be honest, Martin.
Yes.
There you see it's a late tackle, and already been booked. I only presume the referee didn't get a good sighting of that.
We were speculating at half-time whether Glenn Hoddle might think about replacing Beckham and Scholes, having had their yellow cards, but trying to cope with their game under that particular handicap, as World Cups are about as well.
Yes, I don't know if Lasso taking a little bit of a knock in the first half, but I'm sure that Glenn Hoddle would like to have kept the same 11. One of the best first halves that we've produced for a long while. Totally dominant, 2 excellent goals. Some outstanding football.
Yes, the close calls came early when Pearce here made a terrific block on Di Matteo, and late with the Tim Flowers save. Casiraghi. Albertini intercepting Philip Neville's header. Wright trying to hold off Nesta and draw the foul, which he's done. So Pearce will take the free kick. Really giving Gary Neville a great deal of chance. Beckham is there. Nicely read by Cannavaro. Italy, you feel, can only improve. Didn't really do themselves justice in the first 45 minutes, and England with a far better attitude as well as the greater sprinkling of ability, the way that first half shaped up. And again, Scholes right in there competing. It was England's free kick that time. Keown. number of injury stoppages that we've had, and were also in evidence last night as well. This is no end-of-season tournament. This is very much football for real. It's been greeted here in France, the competition, as an appetite whetter for what starts in June 1998. France had to wait, will have to waited 60 years to get the second hosting of the World Cup when it was staged here in 1938. Italy were the world champions. They haven't looked like potential champions tonight, but then how often have we said that before in final stages when they started so uneasily and ended up being there or thereabouts in the finish. More animation from Maldini down in that technical area.
I spoke first half, Martin, about the unbalanced look about the Italians, certainly in midfield, and it's taken another unbalanced look at the back in the second half. They appear to be playing with the three central defenders. Nesta on the ball here has come to the right-hand side of the back. Benarivo playing his accustomed left-back position, but Fouzer is playing more as a right wing-back.
Here's Kaziragi. Ambitious ball from Sheringham, and it didn't come off. Beckham felt he was just nudged at the crucial moment. This is Benarivo. It's powering in against Kaziragi, and then linking up with Scholes and Sheringham. It's pinging the pass to Phil Neville. Took out Fouzer with it. Pearce. Right. Looking Southgate scurry.
Yeah, I was going to say Phil Neville's had to change in the second half, coming on the left, but he's as productive as he was in the first half. Could have a big effect on this second half because Fouzer likes to get forward. You will not want to defend against Phil Neville in this position.
Pearce sensing the opportunity to move forward as in days gone by. England will have to shuttle across now. We'll deal with Dino Baggio. Scholes available again. Ince, if you count his Manchester United connections, to add to the two Nevilles and Beckham and Scholes. Those who developed the talents at Old Trafford should be feeling pretty proud about the way England are going, with a strong Manchester United element in the mix.
There you saw the little triangle between Beckham, Neville and Scholes. That was very productive in the first half, and the difference was it was the other Neville.
And of course they're quite used to playing competitions, even if they did begin in the FA Youth Cup, and that England under-18 tournament that we've mentioned so often. England were the European champions. Scholes was involved in that, Gary Neville as well. Beckham trying too much on that occasion. England mustn't get overconfident. Ince. Ince going in with his foot a bit high, but prior to that Scholes had been balked. The rain falling, and it's clouds all round for Cesare Maldini. Marco Tardelli just sitting behind him. He's number 2, born in England's side in the past. Pearce. England were very grateful for the rain in Katowice. Turned a substandard international surface into something that was workable on. Back goes Pearce. Nesta. England, remember, felt their way into the first half before finding the way through with Ian Wright after 25 minutes. Rather low-tempo football. But I suppose in the 10 minutes or so prior to the goal, the signs were there. England were getting their game together. And from then on, well, it was a splendid example of the depth in the England squad. Kaziragi. We'll see what Italy's depth is like now, Trevor, with the changes that have been made after starting with a very familiar-looking lineup.
Yes, you talk about depth, Martin, and when you look at the players who are injured, McAdams, Pallister, Fowler, McManaman, Ferdinand, very, very encouraging.
Kaziragi, the wind-up for the shot, and again Pearce vigilant, and again it hit Maini. Albertini. England's next game in the World Cup qualifiers, of course, at home to Moldova on the night that Italy have to go to Georgia. Ray Wilkins quite rightly making the point before the match began. What a difficult game that could be for the Italians. Albertini and Costa Curta, incidentally, are suspended from it. Sherry. And you could hear the yell from Ian Wright up here in our commentary position. Cannavaro was the player who flattened him. He joins Scholes and Beckham in the referee's book. Keogh. Scholes. Harry Neville finding himself central. Beckham, who loves to be in this middle of midfield. Surely looked a foul by Dino Baggio on Ince. And it was clearly so by Gary Neville on Benarivo. Trevor, what do you think England's philosophy should be in this situation now?
Always difficult, isn't it, when you're taking a 2-0 lead? You've seen it on so many occasions. Don't want to do anything stupid, you're just happy to sit on it. The initiative has got to be taken by the opposition. But England look comfortable. You know, they're passing it around, they've got plenty of room in the midfield. That's when they've dominated the match, in the centre of the midfield. The Italians just haven't got tight there.
Pearce. I'll make no mistake about it, in Rome, with a hugely partisan crowd, it will be a daunting experience for England, but what they are finding here is if you can cope with the atmosphere, then, as we did point out, Trevor, on that fateful night in February, this may not be a vintage Italian crop of players.
No, but they're still very, very competitive, still very, very difficult to beat. But the biggest difference from the two teams, Martin, is that our lads don't know how to play a friendly. I think the Italians, they do know how to play it as a friendly. I'm taking nothing away from the England boys. It's a very good performance.
Well, there's still more than half an hour to go. Goals, if you've just joined us, from Ian Wright. Oh, and Flowers, can he get there? He does. And some confusion. It needed the goalkeeper to slide it away from Kaziragi.
That was sloppy play, wasn't it? Glenn won't be too happy with that. I don't think he'd mind too much if we keep a clean sheet. That's always very, very encouraging for a manager.
Martin Keown just giving his explanations as to what he was thinking of.
I just wonder what would have happened if Flowers had actually dived on that. Could have been deemed a back pass, could it?
Well, if it meant saving a goal, it would have been worth doing even if it had been. I saw in Lyon last night how difficult it is to take full advantage of those indirect free kicks. Was it Cafu who got in the way of the French effort? Maini. And again, scored in the Italian Cup final, second leg recently against Napoli. Great season it's been for Vicenza. It's been a great season with England for Teddy Sheringham, if not perhaps with Spurs. Phil Neville banging it across where Scholes climbs well, almost got in behind Cannavaro, where England had a player darting forward into that space. Sheringham. Beckham, beautifully played by Beckham again. Scholes with a quick cross. And we'll see using it quickly to try and set off an Italian counter-attack.
Yeah, his magician and his teammate Gary Neville was a bit disappointed with that. He wanted the ball played on the overlaps of him.
Kaziragi, Zola, Keown, the England defensive hero then. An hour gone. Maybe one or two signs of better things to come from Italy. But just prior to that, England put their passes together again well. It was only a case of the cross being too close to the goalkeeper. Southgate. There was some speculation that Jamie Redknapp might be being earmarked for the role that Southgate's operating in tonight, but of course, every time Jamie seems to play for England, he ends up with an injury. Very bad fortune, the latest, of course, at Old Trafford against South Africa. Pearce. Gary Neville and Beckham. Well, Nesta had to make sure that was his because Ian Wright was in acres of space behind him. Ince into the feet of Wright. Well, it was a great idea and the execution wasn't too bad, but it wasn't quite good enough.
Yeah, nice crisp ball that from Wright. Not particularly good defending that from Nesta.
It's Dino Baggio drawing Southgate across. Corner for Italy.
Well, the intentions were right, weren't they, from Ian Wright? He wanted to get onto his right foot. He was very, very unlucky.
Van Hoddle, who's also wants to use this tournament to be able to show again that his team can change their formation when required during the match. Trying to get a point across as Tim Flowers is all agitation at this Italy corner. The goalkeeper has to deal with it in that fist that went a full 40 yards. Costa Curta. Kaziragi, but Pearce in one of those impassable moods. Gary Neville, Beckham. Flag up against Ian Wright. Well, the rain might make it awkward for the spectators here, and even for the cameramen, but I think the players are loving the way the pitch has been slicked up. Albertini, Flowers with everything behind it. Good idea, quick free kick.
Yeah, trying to take Flowers by surprise. He was having none of it. He was alive, alert, just as he was first half, and made that excellent save from Dino Baggio.
Cannavaro. Two up top for Italy, Zola and Kaziragi almost running into each other. But this is Zola where he could be so threatening, but that danger was recognised instantly by Beckham. Just got a touch as Zola was looking to release the shot.
Yeah, it's not too often that Zola gets caught in possession. I thought he made the wrong selection there. Little lob pass to Kaziragi on his left. I think would have been the better option. I think he realised it because he apologised to Kaziragi.
Fuzet. Albertini. Kazaragi with an arm raised. Behind the blanket is Ian Wright. Albertini. Flag was up. Ian Wright waiting for the nod to get back on.
Just wondering who'll take the penalties if England were to get one. Would it be Ian Wright or would it be Teddy Sheringham?
You're getting greedy, aren't you? Another goal. Not often that Italy get beaten by 3 goals to nil. I had a quick flick through the record books at half-time. Ireland won back in 1983 at home, oddly, to Sweden. 2-0 it stays. Teddy Sheringham, of course, took the penalty for his country against Mexico and was also involved in the shootout against Germany in Euro '96. Ben Hoddle paying tribute to Sheringham's wonderful sense of professionalism. And the journalists with the England party, of course, wanted to talk about the possible distraction of this transfer request that has gone in and apparently been accepted by Tottenham. Well, England presented with a corner.
Yes, I think Costa Curta was a little bit unfortunate there. Looked to play it back to Peruzzi, then an unfortunate bobble on the ball. Nothing he could do about that. Just watch this. There it goes, up in the air, off his shin. Nightmare for anyone.
England's corner. Pearce might drop quickly enough for him, but he puts it back in where Nesta clears. Zola became the filling in the sandwich. 2 slices, so to speak, for Pearce and Philip Neville.
The words were exchanged there between the 2 benches. Maldini very, very unhappy with the challenge there from Neville and Pearce. Couldn't see too much wrong with it, could you, Martin?
No. Nesta. Kazaragi trying to feel Pearce and maybe work a situation where he might earn, if that's the right word, a penalty. Pearce just stayed on his feet and dealt with the ball, which was not the object of Kazaragi's attentions. Ince fouled by Fuzet, but collectively England really gelling, and individually I'm sure they all feel that there's a point to be proved here tonight. Guarantees nothing in the World Cup context, but I bet they're enjoying it out there.
Moments like this, Martin, as an international, you must cherish. Not too often you find yourself 2-0 up against Italy at half-time.
Right, caught offside. So, it was a tight one.
Level, wasn't he? Wasn't offside.
Fuzet. Italy have tried to up the tempo of their play in the second period, but they're not putting their game together at all, although Ince now gives it away for England, and Fuzet likewise for the Italians. Sheringham, Ince, Beckham. To great reaction around the ground, a lot of neutrals here, enjoying the way England are putting their passes together once more. Neville's cross, looking for his brother coming in. What a story that would have been.
Fantastic play from England. From one side of the pitch to the other, one wing-back crosses it, and the other wing-back gets them at the far post.
Well, one remembers how much the two Charlton brothers contributed to England, and of course, in particular, World Cup success in '66. Certainly, Gary and Philip Neville have time on their side to build a similar sort of dynasty. Sheringham and Ince. Southgate. Scholes. If this was being played at Wembley, there would have been a few Olays perhaps by now. Beckham. Good hunting down by Maini. Little skip away from Kaziragi. Flowers playing it because I think it would have been a corner. And he's come up with a good pass, Tim Flowers, keeping with the rest of the England players. Scholes skipping over Benarivo. Now Southgate's need some attention.
I was going to say there about Scholes, that's all part of the learning process, and he's learning very quickly. He realised that Benarivo was just about to arrive with a tackle, read it, goes over, wins himself a free kick. Nothing wrong with that? Or is it?
Well, it's the waving the yellow card that Albertini was doing in the Scholes incident in the first half that personally sticks in my throat when any pro does that against an opponent.
Yes, it crept in a little bit in the Premiership, didn't it, this season? Not too often, I'm pleased to say.
In the midst of all that, the ball did cross the line. So it's an Italy throw. England, remember, playing France on Saturday. And then next Tuesday, England against the world champions Brazil in Paris. So we'll see all the games on Sky Sports. Plus the other matches in Le Tournoi as well, which is developing very nicely, and a sense of competition worthy of the effort put in by the organisers. Zola, Maini, useful header. So we're looking for support now from deeper, or is it?
Just look how many men England got behind the ball. 10 players behind the ball.
Good screening by Kaziragi, who got in front of Pearce that time. Pearce wily enough not to commit himself to any contact. Albertini. Benarivo. Italy keeping the ball, and England keeping their defensive shape.
Yes, as long as England keep it away from Zola, you feel that if they're going to score, Zola's going to be involved somewhere.
It's more solid defensive play from Pearce. He must be a candidate for the man of the match, although there are plenty of them in England white shirts tonight. 0891 111101. Let us know who you think should get that accolade. Pearce again. Sheringham in, Wright's in space. Sheringham's got the ball into that sort of channel. In fact, the pitch just worked against Wright. I think in the first half, when it was drier, it would have held up and the pass would have been spot on.
Good covering play, wasn't it, from Costa Curta? Read the situation extremely well. And that was an example there of Benarivo struggling on his left foot. That was the defending I was on about. Costa Curta read it very, very well. A good ball from Sheringham. Good early ball into Wright.
the midfield of Ince, Batty and Lee was criticised as not containing perhaps enough passing ability. England certainly got enough passes on the pitch tonight. And amongst the players warming up for England is Paul Gascoigne, whose latest knock in Poland seemed to preclude him from this tournament. It's a good save from Flowers. Needed a couple of goes at it, but with a greasy ball. And Kaziragi connecting cleanly here. Needed stopping.
Yeah, good shot, good save. Not easy on this greasy surface, become increasingly difficult as the rains come down.
Yes, the master of Kaziragi once more. And then banked the 2 goals in the first half. Ian Wright in the 26th minute, Paul Scholes in the 44th. And the old man of the squad still keeping Italy out and showing to Glenn Hoddle that he's got a lot to offer. Right. Well, England are going to make a change, and particularly Andy Cole, who didn't even take part properly in the training here yesterday in the stadium because of a bruised thigh, comes on for his second England appearance in place of Wright, who's done so well tonight, scoring the first, setting up the second. So opportunity knocks again for Cole, who has had a season of some misfortune. Remember, it started with illness, and then he had an injury, began to get his game together over the second half of the season. Glenn Hoddle noted not just the goals that Cole scored, not in the quantities that he was delivering them in his Newcastle time, of course, but that his general play had improved so much. And ball by Kaziragi.
Well, before you say it, Martin, that increases the Manchester United connection in the England team.
Didn't they say they wanted an extension to the season? Beckham. Costa Curta, oh, it's presenting Cole with a side of goal. Well, it could so easily have been 3-0. It's a corner.
Once again, good running that from Gary Neville. Sloppy play from Costa Curta. And a good save from Peruzzi. Let 2 goals in tonight, hasn't had to make too many saves, but this one at the near post he does well. Probably would have hit the post, may have gone in.
Oh, well, that's queued up off Cannavaro, but the flag had gone up in any case for offside. Well, who would have thought it, but Paul Gascoigne is going to play a part in this game. That right thigh that was bruised and cut so early in Poland. Now, there is perhaps a little angle behind the story. He comes on for Sheringham. This is Gascoigne's 49th cap, and he's been saying how much he wants to reach the landmark of 50 before the season ends. And you would suggest that unless he picks up another injury, and of course they've been coming thick and fast, that he will get to 50 before the end of the Tournoi. Ince. Scholes, another man of the match candidate. Keep those calls coming in, please. Fouzer. Here's Scholes. Aiming for Cole, and well, it was Costa Curta who summed up the air of uncertainty that's pervaded this Italian performance tonight.
Well, this game's littered with mistakes, isn't it? That's the third I can count in the last 10 minutes. You saw the one that came off his shin, that went for a corner, the bad back pass to Cole, and he almost scored there with a header.
England looking for number 3, and Gascoigne joining the artillery. Fuser. So with Cole, Gascoigne and Gary Neville, England have used their 3 permitted substitutes. Cole, and here is Gascoigne. He wanted a corner.
What do you think?
I would say it was a hard one to call for the referee, and he took the sensible option. If he wasn't sure, he had to give it to the defenders. Pierce. Cannavaro was the one slow to pick himself up after that latest.
Once again, drew 1 or 2 words from Maldini on the bench. I'm sure he will like that sort of commitment that we've seen from Pierce from his 11 players tonight.
Just playing devil's advocate, Trevor, I suppose there will be those who will say, well, this is the match that doesn't matter between the two nations, and England seems likely to win it, although Casiraghi hasn't given up the cause. It won't mean too much if it's wins home and away in the World Cup qualifier for Maldini's men.
No, you can't take anything away from England because they've been good value for the 2-0 victory, but make no mistake about it, I don't think this has any bearing at all on the match in October. Be totally different in front of 80,000 in Rome. Very, very hostile crowd there. But it's a great confidence booster for England. You know, they're playing well, they're winning away from home, they're not conceding goals. Could be another clean sheet tonight. You can't ask any more than that.
Casiraghi. Zola. And Casiraghi has gone looking for Ince. So too as the referee. Ince gets a booking, which is something that still blights his international game. It's his 31st cap tonight, and by my tally, that's his 9th international yellow card. He's suspended from the match against Moldova at Wembley. Of course, that shouldn't be too great a worry for Glenn Hoddle, but it's a free kick here, and it is Gianfranco Zola. 7 minutes to go. Italy looking for a route back into the contest. They have not played well, but something special from Zola here, and they're back in contention. It's not a vintage effort, and Flowers should make the catch. He's concerned about Casiraghi coming in.
I think he's concerned about the whole team. Maldini.
Well, England have won the physical battle, but they've won the football battle as well, and you can only, as you quite rightly say, Trevor, take into account the performance on the pitch tonight. And I'm sure you'll want to keep tabs on exciting England. And we'll do so, the match from Montpellier on Saturday. We start at 7. That's a genuine away game, of course, against France. Ince, who played that wonderful ball for Alan Shearer's goal in Poland, under the same sort of pressure was being applied to him then. Doesn't need to do anything hot-headed now. And now it's Gascoigne going in, and he's going to get a yellow card as well. And again Maldini, who was about a yard away from that, with an expression of a man who wants to know what's going on. Well, we can tell him England badly want to beat Italy.
Well, that's a ridiculous
tackle
tackle
for 20 years.
That's a silly tackle, that, Martin, unnecessary. 5 minutes to go. That's just asking to go into the referee's book. Tackle from behind, no chance of winning it.
Cole's back heel for Gascoigne. He was being impeded, and the referee is booking Nesta for that. All this might have significance in the last match of the tournament, as I told you earlier. He's totting up procedures in place just as if it was in the World Cup. Another caution in the next game, and France might be short of options for selection for the third one.
I think Beckham fancies a shot. He must be all of what? More than 35 yards.
Well, his approach is not the long run-up, it's the curved run-up. And it's a long, long way off target.
That's interesting, isn't it? Free kick from that sort of distance with Paul Gascoigne on the field.
Final reminder for you of our phone number for man of the match, 0891111101. Dino Baggio. Southgate stopping that excursion forward from Italy. Scholes again sensing where the space is. Gascoigne. Ince. Scholes. Holding off Cannavaro and being flattened again. There's quite a nasty element coming into the game. And the referee was a long, long way away from that. Scholes got away from the first challenge and was taken out by the second.
Let's have a look at it. It looked a bad challenge.
And that's Nesta, who's just been booked. One that Scholes survived. Cannavaro, it was a little bit high. Paul Scholes with great resilience. I'm dying to know who the man of the match is, because it's not by any means an easy choice. Gascoigne. Beckham. Cole's gone to the left, ahead of Beckham. Keeps it short to Gascoigne. Scholes trying to nick it through. Andy Cole. Well, it was a mishit shot, and it's fallen perfectly for Gary Neville. And Italy have got 5 players who could join into this counter-attack. Zola. Fuzet. England hanging on to the shutout, which is so important for the defender's self-belief. But it hasn't stopped Gareth Southgate on the gallop here, looking for Cole. Oh, Peruzzi, in unorthodox fashion, knocked the ball away from Andy Cole.
Yeah, it was a pity that only the one England player went into the box.
England have lost their shape a bit with Southgate's charge forward, and this is Fuzet. Cleared by Ince. Fuse, Nesta, 90th minute in Nantes, Beckham. I think that was a pass for Cole, not the famed Beckham shot for the halfway line, but maybe I would be wrong. Cole was certainly peeling away to make an angle.
I think it was a shot, Martin.
I bow to your superior judgment, Trevor.
I think he spotted Peruzzi off his line, all of 60 yards, tried to do what he did at Wimbledon.
Fuse. Gascoigne. England keeping this mood of great self-belief going to the last. They haven't needed to chase the game in the second half. They've coped with what Italy have had to offer, trying to repair the damage that was caused by the goals from Ian Wright and man of the match Paul Scholes. Ince. Well, this exciting summer for England continues with a win over Italy. Not the significance of the same result in Rome, of course, but still the first success against the Italians for 20 years. Paul Scholes, the man of the match. He made the first goal with a pass of true international class for Ian Wright. Here it comes. And England, from that moment on, never look likely to be bettered. And it was Wright returning the compliment to Scholes right on half-time. And Glenn Hoddle will hope for plenty of psychological pointers for the World Cup showdown in October. And after last night's draw between France and Brazil, it means that England go to the top of the table in the Tournoi de France. The players, Trevor, brimming with confidence after Katowice, and they've turned that into a performance tonight.
Yes, I think Glenn Hoddle would be very proud of his players. It was a very accomplished performance, some great individual performances, but also worked the tactics. Italy played 4-4-2, completely outmanoeuvred by an England side that looked very, very comfortable playing with three at the back and with two wing-backs. They won the game in midfield, but in two players up front, they had two outstanding goal scorers who got the goals, Scholes and Ian Wright.
Well, all England lovers will be hoping that we have the same story to bring you from Rome in October. Tonight, Italy 0, England 2. Let's join Nick Collins.
Thanks, Martin. I've got Ian Wright, Paul Ince and Paul Scholes down here. Ian, this is becoming a nice habit for you, isn't it? Your last two England starts and 2 goals.
Yeah, I'm just pleased to be here, like I said, you know, and if I could get on and try and do something, you know, I'm just here to enjoy myself, and scoring goals is a bonus. I'm just pleased to be here. It's a great atmosphere in the squad.
And Paul Scholes sets you up for the first, and you repay the compliment.
And it was a quality ball from Paul. You know, everybody's seen what he's got. He's got that about him. I knew if I made the runs, if I tried to make decent runs, he'd find me, and he found me with a great ball. I was really pleased.
Paul, it's not World Cup points at stake, but I mean, how important is this win for you?
Oh, it's important because we're top of the table. That's the most important thing. I said beforehand, we'll have a bearing when we go to Rome in October. But as I say, we changed a lot of players. We brought in some different players, different kind of personnel, and the lads were fantastic. I'm so pleased with Wright and Scholesy. They've come in, you know, and they've done really well. And it's a great win for us.
It's going to make things nice and easy for you in Italy now with a win like this, isn't it?
As I said, it's nice to go back to Italy now that we beat the Italians. But as I said, we've got 2 games left. And we started off well. That was my name, to start off well, get a couple of goals, and in the second half we didn't concede any goals, which has got the defence done well. So I'm very pleased.
Bring Paul Scholes in as well. Paul, very well played. Your first England start and a goal. How do you reflect on your performance tonight?
Well, I enjoyed it. As I say, playing with such good players, it's good experience for me. And like he says, I'm just glad to be here. And it was a bonus getting a goal.
Has it helped you, the fact that you've been with the squad, you've had a couple of appearances as substitute, and then you've been introduced?
Yeah, it's settled me in a bit, especially having a few more United lads with me. It's helped me settle in. I've come in and scored a goal. I'm very pleased.
Finally, Paul, what sort of pointers do you think this will have for Rome in October?
Shows that we've got strength and depth. That's what it shows. We didn't have a Shearer today. We've got Wright and Scalzi. It shows the strength we've got in depth. But it's a good round all-round performance for all the players, not just these two, everybody involved. And we're confident, as I say, we come off the back of beating Poland 2-0, and we showed tonight that we're confident and we can keep the ball when we need to. We've done very well, I'm very pleased.
Ian, very quickly, France, the next game, looking forward to that?
I'm just whatever the boss is going to do. I'm just like I said, you know, it's great to be. It's a good tournament. You know, we want to try and win it. You know, and make a good account of ourselves. And the confidence is high in the squad. You know, it's going well. I'm really pleased.
Well played, all three of you. Thanks for joining us, Richard.
It's been a great night. Still to come, highlights from last night. A postcard from... Live from the Hockenheim circuit in Germany tomorrow, Britain's Carl Fogarty continues his challenge to regain the World Superbike Championship. Sunday morning, 10:30, Sky Sports 1. And right now, the Tournoi continues. France against England, the hosts against the tournament leaders. And what I wonder is more important this evening, because all of a sudden we've got a winning habit. Is it the win or is it a performance again that will give us something to talk about?
I think we've got to look to the performance, Richard, personally. I think we are improving all the time under Glenn, and against the Italians we were quite superb at times. Obviously Glenn will be looking at the result as well, as we all are. We all want to win, but I think so long as we can keep performing as we're performing, we're going along the right lines.
But expectation, Barry, as we've heard, particularly in France, is high.
Yeah.
So is it for these people we're looking at here, an English win?
Well, I'm sure they stand there expecting a win, but it's a great habit to get into, not getting beat, especially on foreign soil. It's never a bad thing if the game isn't going too well. Everything went for us against the Italians. You know, we played really well, we dominated the game, and midfield had lots to the ball, our forwards looked sharp. There's times when things don't go well for you. It's not going to be your day. You've got to make sure that the player you're playing against, the team you're playing against, it's not going to be their day. You've got to dig in. And we haven't come across that yet in this tournament. Maybe it's today because it is going to be a little rough and tumble in there, I think.
And you want teams on the continent, Ray, beyond that, to start talking about you in the right terms.
Yeah, quite
Is
right.
that happening now?
I think it is, Richard, yeah. I think the way we played in Poland in a World Cup qualifying game against Italy the other night is very encouraging as far as we're concerned, and we're definitely making people sit up and take notice of who we are now, once again, and it's vitally important that we do that. I think the next step for us is to go in and win European titles again, and I'm sure we'll do that within the next 4 or 5 years.
Could win this tournament.